Hello, my name is Pastor Kenny Mukwena and this is my wife, Pastor Tsepile Mukwena. We call her Pastor Mom.
Hello everyone.
We are excited today to be coming in your home. This is Young and Called, where we talk all things ministry for the young and called. So my wife and I, we pastor a church in Gauteng. We used to be in Centurion, but now we are in Midrand because God gave us a property, a big, beautiful property in Midrand. So we're doing our shoot in our home. We call it the Summit because it's on the Summit Road. So we're right next to the main road, the Summit Road, and the Summit Road is getting very, very, very busy.
Yeah.
It's extremely busy.
Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're excited about this journey. That is why we're calling this season 3 the Summit season, because we are busy with the construction of our church as we are shooting this. I remember, on season 2, I stood not far from here, somewhere. So where we are now, this is the Summit Road, and then you've got the property where we are, which is number 22 Summit Road, and then you've got number 23, and then there is another property next to the power station. I stood in that property because it's a vacant land, and we wanted to buy that property since 2021. If you watch the previous episode, especially I think it's episode 1 of the Summit season, and then when we were about to put a deposit for that property, God redirected us. He ordered us to buy a car for an apostle that God brought in our midst, an apostle who never served in our church. He came already retired, from another church, but he was an evangelist, Reverend L.C. Hlumwane. For those who are come from Swaziland, you would know him better. The Lord spoke to us. Yes, and also Barberton. I think he started in Barberton and then went to Swaziland and did a lot of work and then came to Gauteng. So then when he is now retired, for some reason God led him to come to our church, and after hardly a year or so after he's been in our church, and then God spoke to us to have him ordained as an apostle by Reverend Gumbi, and then after that God spoke to us to buy him a car. Now that one act of obedience, we spoke about this in the previous episode, so that changed everything. God relocated us from that property over there and placed us on the main road. And I remember when I spoke to you about it, that this is what God is saying. Controversial and difficult as it was, because we needed to put our project on hold, you said yes, let's do it. It bore witness, we know, with your spirit. And when you said yes that day, I knew it was done. I knew that this was God. I was not, because literally we are generous people. I'm a very, very, very generous man. We have done so much in the kingdom of God. We continue to do so much. But then when God directs you like that, when we have to make a decision which is not common, you must know that you have heard from God, because that one act can change things for the worse.
And it doesn't come easy, because when you decide to make such big decisions, it comes with persecutions.
Yes.
Other people may not understand, may not look at it the way you looking at it, but it's very important that you go with what God says.
What God says, and you must have traveled a journey with God, especially when you make decisions like that, and you must be married to a solid wife. So we are right now at the Summit. We call it the Summit. We're on our own property, and it took our teamwork, together, of course, with our leaders. We've got a very, very solid leadership structure. We've got elders in our church who have been with us from the beginning up until now. We take decisions with them together. Our leadership, the entire leadership structure is solid. We've got heads of ministries, heads of departments, like literally every area is covered. But it starts from the top, because that's how the anointing flow. So because my wife and I were structured the way we are structured, we work so well together, like literally so well together. That's how we got to this part.
It's very important to work as a team. When God puts a couple together, it's for divine purpose, because you cannot work against each other. You must work towards each
Yes,
other.
yes.
And where the other one is lacking, the other one, elevates the other.
Yes,
so
yes.
yeah, it's us balancing
Each other.
Yes.
And that balance is extremely important to the success of ministry, because there are two things that if we have time, I would want us to talk about them today. The first one is ladies who are on the background. There are two types. Those that are not willing to come to the front because they are shy, maybe their personalities or their background, or they feel that they don't have anything to offer, but you are married to a pastor, you're a pastor's wife. And then there is a type that has the ability, they are available, they are willing, to assist, to help their husband, to be part of the ministry, but the man is blind solo. Yes, then there's no platform.
Yeah.
So how do we encourage people in that? What would you say? You can take any of the two. There are those that do not come forward. They are always at the back. In some churches, you go in there's a conference for 3 days. You leave. You can't see. You don't even know. You
nowhere to be found.
There's nowhere to be found.
Yeah. So I would really, really encourage, pastors' wives out there that you need to step up.
Yeah.
Because in every home, there's a mother.
Yes.
And where there's only a father that is operating in that household,
There are
that
gaps.
means there are gaps, and the kids are not normal because there must be a father and mother. There are certain things that father cannot do, but
Yes.
mother is able to do. We are like administrators, so we administrate everything concerning our home. So
Yes.
the father is the vision bearer.
Yes.
So we run with the vision.
Yes.
But if there's a vision bearer in the church, but there's no
Administrator, someone
exactly,
who processed and packaged the
exactly.
vision.
So you
Yes.
find that there are too many gray areas. So
Yes.
I will encourage, a pastor's wife out there that you have been, sitting at the back and not, getting involving yourself into
Yes.
what the ministry entails. Please make sure that you step up because
up.
there's a gap. Some women in the church, they can't tell you that they need you, but
Yes.
if they need you, you need to set that example even to the other women that as women we are capable, we are able, we are as much anointed as the men.
Yes.
So don't forsake your role, step
Yes.
up and
Yes.
make a difference.
Yes. And you know what the biggest problem that I've seen, especially reflecting on how you and I function,
Yes.
is the fact that there are issues which affect women, which I can't deal with them.
Exactly.
But if the mother is behind the scenes, she's nowhere to be found. The church does not even know her gift, the area of her strength. It becomes very difficult for a member, an ordinary member who's not a leader, because maybe at the level of leadership, maybe some of these leaders have access to Mom Rudy behind the scenes.
Yes.
But then, what about a member who has issues, but because he does not know the strength and the capacity of the mother, because of the mother being invisible, yes, they then take these issues to the father. And then some Mom Rudis, when that happens, they then start having a problem with these ladies. But yet it is them who are not availing themselves, being out there and assisting, playing the role of a mother and covering those gaps.
Yeah, so as you said that maybe there are some other reasons that are making the woman not to step up.
Yes.
You find that also she's not getting, affirmation from the husband,
yes.
The husband doesn't tell her that she's talented, she's capable,
Yes.
So I'll encourage even the pastors to make sure that you encourage your woman.
Yes.
Tell your wife that you are capable, you are bold, you are strong,
Yes.
you are amazing. So those words,
They
can
have, yes.
be able to bring her up.
Building confidence on the wife, because
Yes.
others it can be an issue of confidence. And
Yes.
when she stood in front and she spoke,
Yes.
especially early days, because this show is for the young and cold, those that are still rising and so on. You find that the pastor's wife has spoken on the pulpit.
Yes.
So when she steps down, instead of the men affirming her, But the men only deal with criticism. To say, no,
Yeah.
but why did you say that? Why did you say that?
Exactly.
That now crushes her confidence. The next time she goes again there, she's no longer
Or she
confident.
doesn't want to do
Or she
it
doesn't
at
want
all.
to do it at all.
Yeah,
And that
because
creates
even
problems.
like me, when we started, I didn't like speaking in front of people.
Mm.
I needed you to affirm me and
Yes.
tell me, because you are the one that gives me feedback more
Yes,
than anyone
anybody
else.
else, yeah.
So when you tell me that we have done well, first tell me I've done well, and
Yeah.
then if there's some places where I need to improve, then you tell me
Yeah.
at another time, not
Yes.
immediately. So that also gives me confidence
Yes,
to
yes.
do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important to give a positive feedback,
Feedback,
first,
yes. Mm.
so that she's able to do it
Yes,
again.
and sometimes, especially for those that are not confident,
Mm.
you don't want to give your constructive criticism,
Yes.
just after she has spoken. What I would recommend you do if you have a situation like that, when the wife comes back, even if she messed up here and there, make her feel better, because she's already feeling bad, and don't help for you to make her even worse. Don't talk about the mistakes she made. Give her the affirmation. Tell her she has done well. You're proud of her. She spoke so well, and focus on the points which she dealt with that are right.
Yeah.
Now, the next time when she has to go on the pulpit, then if you feel you need to give her some tips and so on,
Yes.
you bring it more as tips, especially for those that are not confident, so that she can grow in confidence. And it's so amazing, how you rose, and own that position, and do it so well. Listen, our church is very balanced now. We are where we are 6 years, but we have done so much by the grace of God. It's because we work together. I don't have to carry a load myself. There are many churches where they would have made it much earlier in the ministry, much earlier, and made it big and achieved so much and done so much, but because there is a gap, Ruth is flying solo, either because Mom Rudy doesn't want to come up, or she's not being given a platform. Say, if that's you are working against yourself, and you are listening to this, you are young and you are called. Bring your wife in. Create a platform for a wife to help you and function with you. And I tell you, your ministry will grow so fast. Our ministry has grown so fast.
And you never know. You find that now the woman is not confident, but 5 years to come,
Yes.
you find that she's a force.
She's a force to
She's
reckon
a
with.
force
Yes.
in the church.
Yes.
She makes things happen.
Yes.
So, but it doesn't start like that. But
Yeah.
as she continues to implement, the things, then she becomes more confident
Yes.
and more
Yes.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, speaking about the force,
Yeah.
very important. This is one of the things that I would love us to touch on. Because remember, the word divorce, die means two, force means force.
Yeah.
So, I have seen a phenomenon, especially of late, where you find a lot of women running their personal ministry away from the ministry.
Yeah.
And for me, as much as that may serve a purpose,
Yeah.
but if whatever the Mom Rudy is doing, she now puts more energy and effort into what she's doing on the side, and now the ministry suffers.
Yeah.
I think that also, to some extent, weakens the church, because one thing that will never change, and it's an order of God, is the order of God, and women need to understand, especially powerful women, the ones that are a force. It's very important for you to function in submission, that when you do whatever you are doing on the side, it must be, it must never take, it shines. The church is suffering because now you are attaching more energy and effort on what you're
But
doing on the
some
side.
may feel like when you're saying, it must align to the vision of the
The husband, yes.
It's like you are blocking them not to operate in their calling. But what are you building away from
Yes,
what
yes.
the Lord has given you as a couple?
Yes.
The vision that the Lord has given you as a couple. Because I believe that as the Lord gives the husband vision, it's my responsibility to package it
Yes.
and make it and make sure that
And make it look
it
good
is
and
thriving
succeed.
and
Yes.
succeeding. Because now, if I'm building on a side and not focusing on the vision
Yes.
that the Lord has given to us as a couple, and then I'm not operating
In your
my
first
calling.
calling.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
remember, as a wife,
Mm.
the moment you become a wife, it's okay when you're not married.
Mm.
It's okay when you're not married. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
But the moment you are married, you are a helper to your husband. That's your first calling, not a secondary calling. The other things that you're doing on the side, they are secondary. So what we're talking about, we are not saying you cannot do that.
Yes.
But what we are saying is matters of priority.
Priorities
The problem is
must be in place.
powerful ladies,
Mm.
who feel the call upon their lives and start doing other things and frustrate the calling. Look at callings of people that, you find that this husband, he still needs to be boosted in terms of his
Exactly. You may
confidence.
find also the preaching is shaky.
It's shaky, yes.
It still needs, the cheering
The-
on of the
of
wife.
the wife,
But
yeah.
the wife is nowhere.
It's nowhere to be
found.
found. She's running other things,
Exactly.
So we are
Yeah.
saying this to you because we have seen it happen.
Mm.
We have seen by experience. My wife and I, we've been in ministry now for 14 years, pastoring. But we have been in our local church very close to our pastors. We have learned so much. We've seen how other, people do what they do. I mean, there are
Yes.
pastors who would come to our church.
Mm.
Every conference, this men come, you will never see the wife. Whether the conference is 3 days, it's a day, the men come alone, they come solo. And then you ask yourself, what is happening with the wife? You may find that the wife, she's busy running her own things,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to be there to
There's
support the husband.
disorder in the house.
It's a disorder in the
The house,
spirit
yes.
as well,
Yeah,
because
true.
you are forsaking your
Mm.
first calling in the ministry, suffering, but for as long as you are thriving, it's okay. And let me tell you, the devil can interfere with your ministry, interfere with your calling, interfere with your marriage by you now pursuing your secondary calling and neglecting your primary calling. So if you want to do that, make sure it's balanced. Make
Yes.
sure that you cheer your husband on. Some ladies you go into their Instagram, you'll never find the husband.
It's hair.
It's
all
there
over.
all over the place,
And there's nothing wrong with
with
that,
that.
because even on my Instagram, I'm there, I've got my pictures there, but it shows that we are a team.
Yes.
Because it's my pictures, your pictures. You can
Yes.
tell that
There's
There's
balance.
balance.
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong even going, to your YouTube and encouraging someone,
Yeah.
but you must balance it
balance
to
it,
make sure that
balance it.
people see that you support your husband's
Especially the
ministry or
church,
calling.
the church which you are
Yes.
pastoring.
Yes.
You see, the problem is those that are young
Yes.
and called,
Mm.
they do not realize
Yes.
some of these things that they do,
Mm.
they have consequences on the long run. I remember there's a couple we know with my wife, where the wife she's very, very, very strong and powerful and gifted, but the man is so sweet, so
reserved.
calm, so reserved, so
Yeah.
soft spoken. And over the years, they've been in ministry for a long time, but it has never worked because when you function together, the wife must be so wise. The members must see the wife supporting the man,
Exactly.
elevating the man, affirming the man, making the church to say, me and you, we submit
And
to our pastor.
if your husband is not your pastor first,
Yes.
how can other
People, yes, see him.
can follow?
Yes.
The
You know what
same-
other people
Yeah.
say? They say no,
Yeah.
but what about Joyce Meyer? What about
No,
Joyce
but
Meyer?
it's a totally
Different
setup,
story
because Joyce
altogether.
Meyer is not
She's not
a
pastoring
senior
a church.
pastor of
Yes,
a church.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
She goes around,
Mm.
having conferences where she's preaching.
Mm.
They don't have a church.
Yes,
no.
the husband
Yeah.
goes there to support.
Yes,
In
exactly.
fact, Dave,
Yes.
I heard him with my own mouth, with my own ears.
Mm.
He says this. He says, I choose where I want to go. He doesn't go everywhere where Joyce Meyer is going. There are times where he decides he doesn't want to go, he want to do other things. So the problem is when you're pastoring a church, and now the wife is a senior pastor. Then it means when the wife is a senior pastor, then the men must submit. And that's a disorder. But in other scenarios, you find that the wife, the husband is the senior pastor, but the one who plays the role of the senior pastor is the wife.
And then the men, they have a problem in the church.
And that is where now the horses.
They're led by the wife.
Yes.
But in actual fact, yes, you are leading. In our case, for instance, you are the senior pastor, but I've got influence behind
the scenes.
But as we go to church,
the
you will think you are the one that's leading, but
yes.
I'm nowhere to be found. But I know very well I have my influence. But when you go to church, we create that environment to say, this is the senior pastor. Yes. So it is very healthy like that.
Yes.
Because also the men in the church, they will respect the authority of the husband.
Well, we have run out of time, but one other important aspect on this is the fact that there are scenarios where the wife feels the husband is not called. She's the one with the calling. And if you feel like that, it may be true sometimes. But the question is, are you called to pastor a church and your husband being your helper? I think God is not a God of confusion. So if you find yourself, you're powerful, you feel you are better gifted than your husband, you need the wisdom of God for you to be able to function properly. Oh man, we have run out of time.
Amazing time.
We have run out of time.
I hope you enjoyed the session, and we still have more things to say, but we'll say more on the next
show. Love you so much. Stay blessed. If you are called and you are young, hold on to your calling. I tell you, if you continue to learn, God is going to show up. He's going to take you places you've never been before. Amen. God bless you. We love you.
We love you.
Amen.
Ufanele ukubonga, ufanele yindumiso. You alone have saved me from the grave when nobody could have rescued me. Ufanele. Saved me from the grave when nobody could have rescued me. Oh, Fanele, oh, Fanele, oh, Fanele, Fanele. Ufanele yindumiso. Baba ufanele, ufanele ukubonga. Ama wena ufanele, ufanele yindumiso. You alone have saved me from the grave when nobody could have rescued. Oh, finally, oh, you alone have saved me from the when nobody